Are we currently on the brink of seeing a shift towards new global superpowers? If we look at the power wielded by any nation right now, the United States could be said to be in a globally dominant position. Before it, Great Britain and its empire was the dominant global force, and prior to that, there is a long line of countries that have at one time sat at the apex of the global economy, culture, science, and military strength. Great nations may also decline, a concept known as declinism, while simultaneously other nations are busy evolving into powerful states. For a number of years now, a handful of nations have been developing at a rapid pace, and today we'll compare them with the mighty USA in this episode of the infographic show, The USA vs. Brics. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. Brics is an acronym standing for the 5 countries it represents: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The acronym at first was just BRIC, until South Africa made an appearance in the association in 2010. BRIC was formally started in 2006 when the first BRIC meeting was held under the aegis of a mutual agreement to boost each member country's development. Not only developments relating to economy, business, and trade, but also education, agriculture, health, technology, science, and the arts. Together, BRICS is a powerful conglomerate, accounting for 42.58% of the world's population, and according to the International Monetary Fund, about 22% of the world GDP. Compared to the United States, in terms of size alone, it's Goliath staring down at David. If we look at the numbers, BRICS has a combined population of about 3.6 billion people. The USA has a population of just 325 million people. The US GDP is the biggest in the world at $18 trillion plus, although BRICS combined has a GDP of $37 trillion. The US is not expected to make any headway on BRICS anytime soon regarding economic growth, with its estimated growth to be around 2% over the next few years. BRICS is expected to see growth of around 5%. In an article in The Atlantic published in 2012, Goldman Sachs projected that China's GDP alone would be equal to America's by 2027 and then leap past it. In regard to economy, BRICS nations are ascending quickly. This growth, it's believed, will lead to much stronger militaries, especially those of China and India. Right now, the US spends more on its military than any other nation, with a defense budget of $639 billion for 2018. It's such a large budget that even 5 emerging nations' defense budgets together don't exceed it. According to the Global Firepower Index, Brazil's military budget is currently $24.5 billion, Russia's is $44.6 billion, India's is $51 billion, China's is $161.7 billion, and South Africa is $4.6 billion. Combined, BRICS countries have a defense budget of $286.4 billion. This is even more astonishing when you consider that China and India are both in the top countries for highest military expenditures. In terms of feet on the ground, you probably already know the US is severely outmanned. The US has 1.3 million active military personnel and a further 811,000 acting as reserve personnel. China alone has 4.6 million total personnel, India 3.4 million, Russia 3.2 million, Brazil 2.1 million, and South Africa 106,000. In total, that is almost 13.5 million people ready to fight. Workforce aside, the USA still spends more than all these other countries. So where does the money go? In terms of land equipment, the USA has around 5,884 tanks, 41,000 armored fighting vehicles, 1,934 self-propelled guns, 1,299 towed artillery, and 1,331 multiple launch rocket systems. Most of this equipment is the latest in military innovations, with the US continually developing more advanced war machines, such as its latest battle tank, the M1A2 SEB V4. Russia and China, the 2 strongest of the BRICS militaries, alone make a formidable force on the ground. If the 2 nations were to form a military duo, they'd have over 24,000 main battle tanks, over 35,000 armored fighting vehicles, almost 8,000 self-propelled guns, over 12,000 towed artillery, and over 5,000 multiple launch rocket systems. As well as having strong fleets of tanks, the 2 countries are currently developing 2 new tanks that are rated as highly as the new M1A2 in China's VT4 and Russia's T14 Armata. India also has some modern land equipment and is currently investing billions of its new money into thousands of pieces of new artillery. This will include a fleet of Arjun Mk2 third-generation battle tanks. Brazil has modern weapons, much of which was bought from the USA, the world's biggest arms exporter. Its most extolled land weapon is its almost 400-strong fleet of German-made Leopard 1 tanks that it acquired in 2006. If the USA can't compete on the ground, it certainly can in the air. The United States Air Force is by far the most advanced in the world. The number of modern aircraft alone in the US Air Force can match a number of leading nations put together. This can be credited to the US Air Force having a bigger budget than any other nation's entire military budget. From its 13,444 aircrafts, the US can choose from a number of some of the world's most advanced machines. This includes almost 1,000 F-16 Fighting Falcons, 195 F-22A Raptors, 257 F-15E Strike Eagles, a large fleet of McDonnell Douglas CF-18 Hornets and FA-18E Super Hornets, as well as its new pride of the skies, a fleet of F-35A Lightning IIs. As we said, no No air force comes close to this, but Russia, India, and China have highly rated equipment and are often part of lists containing what is said to be the world's best air forces. It's worth noting that the two latter countries are investing heavily in aerial military developments. Russia's most advanced aircraft is its highly rated Sukhoi Su-35, followed by its Sukhoi Su-27s and MiG-31 interceptors, all of which are part of a fleet of 3,000 aircraft. That's why Russia usually follows the US on the most powerful list. India also has a considerable cache of aircraft, including Russian-made Sukhoi Su-30 MKIs and Mikoyan MiG-29s, as well as the respected French-built multi-role fighter, the Dassault Mirage 2000. China is perhaps playing catch-up, but it's doing a good job. Its fleet consists of Russia's Su-35s and Su-27s, but the country is also looking to match America's F-35 with its own Chengdu J-20 stealth fighter. Brazil's most modern aircraft, the Saab JAS-39 Gripen multi-role fighter, is another top 10 aerial fighting machine. Currently, the South African Air Force has nothing that compares to its Brics partners. As we take to the seas, again the United States spends as much on its Navy, about $170 billion, as other countries could only hope to spend on all military branches. Much of this money goes on infrastructure, operations and maintenance, personnel, research and development, as well as acquiring new ships. The USA currently leads the world in terms of aircraft carriers, owning 11 of them. It's currently developing the Gerald R. Ford-class supercarrier, which should help bolster the Navy's position as a global leader. These ships are of great importance as they are, in effect, floating militaries. The US also has 22 cruisers, 67 destroyers, 8 frigates, 75 submarines, 0 corvettes, 9 amphibious assault ships, 11 mine warfare ships, and 55 patrol ships. According to National Interest, the USA and the UK will be followed by 3 countries as the most powerful navies in the near future. You guessed it, those countries are China, India, and Russia. While Russia is to be expected, both India and China have been pouring money into their respective navies. Pundits believe that by 2030, India will have the second largest navy in the world and will also have its own supercarrier. It currently has 1 aircraft carrier, 0 cruisers, 11 destroyers, 14 frigates, 15 submarines, 23 corvettes, 0 amphibious assault ships, 7 mine warfare ships, and 72 patrol ships. China is on track to have the largest fleet come 2030 and is close to finishing its secret supercarrier, the CV-18. Russia's greatest threat is its large fleet of 60 submarines, some carrying devastating ballistic missiles. Again, both Brazil and South Africa are not regarded as having strong navies in terms of global power, but together the former triumvirate of Brics navies would be dominant if they were all on the same side. As we come to the end of this episode, we must mention nuclear capabilities. The US and Russia own around half of all the nuclear weapons in the world, with China's small arsenal of around 260 non-deployed weapons being a matter of speculation in terms of numbers. India is said to have around 120 warheads and is believed to be working on increasing its nuclear arsenal. Brazil and South Africa have no nuclear weapons. So, do you think the US would stand a chance against Brics, or would it be a total wipeout? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to check out our other video, North Korea versus South Korea. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time!